Time now for a rink demo presented by Bauer. Butch Goring, Conn Smythe winner, and 4 cup rings in a row. Dano, 3 cup rings. One of the things that I remember Scott Stevens saying is you can still play hockey in front of the net. When people talk about how much has changed, one thing that hasn't changed, net front presence is critical. You've seen this up close with Anders Lee, 40-goal scorer last year and productive again this year.
Certainly one of the best and maybe the toughest way to score a goal is to have to do battle in front of the net. But it's all about, positioning in front of the net and where you position yourself. Sometimes you're in tight to the net as Anders Lee, and then sometimes he'll move out. But you have to have that great hand-eye coordination. I mean, he's got a very quick stick. So, you watch this guy play. He scores goals in a lot of different ways. Takes up his position in front of the net, and he's getting an easy goal right there. But he's always quick to recognize where the puck is. He's looking for it. He gets to his position early on. We can see him in front of the net again. Shot. Turns around quickly, and then the quick stick, he's able to make a shot. So part of that whole plan, Kenny, really is when you're, you got to use your strength. You talk about getting those knees down and establishing your position strong so you can't move that guy. He's about 220 pounds. He's as strong as an ox and just manipulates himself into position, and it's not an easy thing for any particular defenseman. So Anders Lee has done a wonderful job with that, and this is where he's at his best. Up tight to the goaltender, deflected on the backhand. Try that with a little trick. So Anders Lee has really matured as an individual, as a goal scorer in front of that net, because he's learned that it's not about just staying at the top of the crease, Kenny. It's about moving yourself into position.
Makes it so much more difficult for a defenseman to defend against Anders Lee, because maybe early in his career, I would assume he'd plan himself and wouldn't react as quick. Or it's focus, right? And he continues to grow whether it's a tip, whether he's looking for that rebound. He, on a couple of those, he's beating 3 defenders to that loose puck and chipping it in. Against the Devils there, he gets inside position. He's so strong on his stick that if he's got inside position, there's no way to lift the stick.
How about like you? Here I am with the puck in this area here. Now, and don't be spearing me or cross-checking.
Well, it was a little more easier to defend in my day because you would have got one of these, Butch.
I know.
We can't do that anymore because it's an automatic penalty.
So Anders gets that big butt of his out in this area, and so if he wants to do a spinorama, Kenny, it's pretty difficult. What would you do to prevent him from getting himself all the way around into position? Because he certainly does that.
I think the best and only way for a defenseman is somehow try to. And you got to time it.
Yep.
Get that stick up because he's so difficult because of that big frame.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible because you're not going to lean on him. He doesn't care. He'll take all the abuse you want because he's as strong as a bull. So I think for a defenseman, or front him. You have to try to front him and get underneath that stick. It's not easy to do because of him going in, out, and spinning and using that tripod kind of stance in front. It's really difficult.
What about if I'm out a little bit further, Kenny, and I'm looking really for a deflection? Like I've got 10, 12 feet in behind me, and like we saw that goal against the Rangers, and Lundqvist, he was out here, able to do that. I mean, how are you going to manage that position? Because his stick is way out here again.
Almost impossible to defend when he has that kind of hand-eye. That's when that puck's coming. If a defenseman can time it, now you got to give the little shove to maybe throw him off balance a little bit without taking a penalty.
Tony, I'm taking a beating here.
And we can't have that. You're a national treasure. Let me step in here. And let me point this out. Zach Parise, you don't have to be the size of Anders Lee to be effective in front of the net. His will, his determination. Talk about that element to this, that more and more players that aren't Lee's size can do this.
Yeah, well, I think
Butchie, for example, pretty successful around the net when he played.
Very.
For me, it was a flyby. I just pick up the loose pucks. But I think with the way the game's played today, it's allowed the little guy to get in front because, as Kenny mentioned, there's a lot of things that can't happen anymore. I mean, it was a tough battle to hang in around the net. And you would pay some prices. I mean, you would get some high sticks. You would get some stitches across the face here and there. And he knows very well. And that's just, and I was kidding about the spearing, but a lot of that went on. So, a lot of it was intimidation. There's not the intimidation anymore. The guys know that, they're going to get whacked a bit, but it's not the same game.
So for a defenseman defending or even a forward trying to box out an Anders Lee, it's all about position. It's all about timing it when that puck's coming, giving the quick stick lift. And it's not easy to do. I think Zach Parise does it a little more on quickness, but one element that's there, the determination, the focus, where that puck is, which Anders Lee uses a little more of that size strength, great hand-eye. That's what Zach Parise has as well. but they do go about it a little differently. Parisi, for me, maybe a little more quickness. And
They both want to score, Kenny.
they both want to score.
And they both score plenty, and they're not afraid to go to Bloody Nose Alley, which is what Herb Brooks called it. Great insights from you. It's something we're going to watch closely as the season moves along.
All right, we talked about net front presence, but is that similar to a quarterback being in the pocket with protection? Because Anders Lee was a pretty darn good high school quarterback back in Minnesota.
Better than pretty darn good. I think he was Mr. Football.
He was a finalist.
Or
He was
finalist
a
for Mr.
Mr. Football.
For Minnesota State football playing. So to me, though, part of being good in front of the net is not just the willingness to go there and the guts and courage to stand there and take the shot coming at you and a guy trying to check you. There's also a real feel to how to get to the right spot at the right time. And that's like sliding away from the puck, getting away from the goaltender, getting into his eyes, getting away from your check. And you can equate it somewhat to a quarterback back in the pocket as he's feeling the pressure come from different points and he's stepping up in the pocket or rolling out, just finding the open space based on what he feels around him. And honestly, when you watch him, has a great feel for where to go in front of the net with all the bodies and all the traffic. So maybe some of that cross-training football action helps him out. Check YouTube, man. He can launch it. Yeah. So I'm sure the two-sport athlete in him helps in front of the net.
Who are the best guys that you guys played with as far as net front presence, and what made them so effective?
For me, playing not with, but playing against, we had so many series against the Detroit Red Wings, and you think of Thomas Holmstrom. The ability to, like a little bit like Chris Kreider our days, where he parked himself in front of net and would stay in front of the goalie the whole time they were in the zone. Tremendous stick, tremendous, feel, as you mentioned, as to where the defender was on him, where the goaltender was looking, what the goalie was trying to do. Because sometimes it's not about yourself scoring, but it's about creating opportunities for who's playing. And with Nick Lidstrom, it's almost like they were eye to eye and they were seeing each other and thinking what each other was going to do. If Nick Lidstrom was going to shoot the one way, Thomas Holmstrom was going to find a way to, at some point, interfere with the goalie, cross the eyesights of the goalie where the goalie couldn't keep track of the puck, and it was, or Lidstrom would find him, like 2 feet high right on the stick where it was an easy deflection for Thomas Holmstrom. So there's a real understanding, as you've said. There's feel, there's understanding, there's positioning, there's strategizing as well. Because as Matt Barzal moves on that power play, Johnny Tavares did last year on the power play. Now Josh Bailey does with him. Anders Lee, if you look and you strictly look at him on the power play, he's going to feel the defenseman. He's going to use that frame, that 6'3", 230 frame. He's going to, push the guy just a little bit to give himself some space, to put his stick in a position where he's going to get to that rebound, where he's going to get, in a position where if there's anything else that's coming out of a shot, of a rebound, he's going to be in front to be that guy that gets to that puck first. So there's a tremendous amount of IQ that goes into playing that position.
Different kind of feel, too, for some of those Colorado-Detroit type games in front of the net.
Another guy well, Ryan Smith, in Edmonton for a long time. He was a big, fat, illegal blade, and he would get his stick on everything, hang in there. Not the biggest guy, but certainly difficult to move out of there. And on a dark horse, I played with Landon Wilson, whose dad, Rick, just got hired in Philadelphia as an assistant coach. And as far as the most consistent, who could touch any puck, would never miss a tip, ever in practice, he would go 39 out of 40.
Wow.
Landon Wilson. He was unreal at it.
All right. The shout-out right there.
Willie, I got you.
Get done. The game is a gift. You can visit your local retailer or Bauer.com for great holiday hockey gifts. Check them out.